would love for us to shift the conversation, make it a little bit more relaxed, and I would like to ask you a few quick fire questions just to make sure that we get to dive deeper into your journey and some of your experiences as well. Now, being the PR manager for the Springboks is quite exciting, and you get to travel the world and you get to see all of these different places. I would love to know from you, what has been the most memorable experience for you?
So I think the most memorable experience is traveling to Italy. I'm an absolute foodie. People don't know that about me, but I love everything. I love trying new recipes. I love cooking. I love going to restaurants around the world, and that was the most amazing place for me is to travel in Italy, because it's just a foodie's dream.
And of course, I'm assuming when we travel in Italy, we also gave the Italians a spanking on the field as well.
Well, we did, but we did also have one of our dark moments there where we lost to Italy for the first time in our history, and that was a pretty tough day. And it was in the beautiful city of Florence. I was celebrating my 200th test after the match with the players, and we lost. So that was a pretty dark day.
Yeah, we do talk about the highs and lows, but luckily you enjoyed the food and the scenery as well.
Yeah.
I would love for us to talk about you possibly being on the field. What position would you love to play, and specifically in which tournament?
I would love to play fullback, because I would like to be that last line of defense, and I also think I'm a bit nervous to be in the front. So I would love to play. I would love to play fullback, and I think to play in a Rugby World Cup would be an amazing experience to actually play. The women, the Springbok women are getting an opportunity to play in the World Cup in New Zealand next year. Was supposed to be this year, now has been postponed to next year. So I think that would be, the pinnacle of every player. So to play in that tournament would be amazing.
Definitely. Would you say that you would have the same skills as a 𝗙ecie𝗹𝗹𝗶, maybe?
Well, I'd like to think so, but I don't think so. Those guys, 𝗀cie, Montgomery, Willie, those guys are just amazing athletes. And I don't think I'll be fast enough, firstly.
That is quite true. They are quite special players as well. But I would love to talk about some of the coaches. Now, I would love to put you on the spot. In your experience, who has been the best coach over the last 2 decades that you have spent with the Springboks? And I know that it might be a difficult question. Maybe I'll extend it to 3 coaches that you would say stand out for you.
So I think you are going to put me on the spot, and I'm not going to answer you properly like you want me to, Aaron. But I'm going to say that, as I explained to you, I've worked with 7 coaches, which has been an amazing experience, but it's also a learning experience, because every time it's like you getting a new job. Every time a new coach comes in, they're new things, tradition and history and all that will stay the same, because that stays the same. But the coach will bring in new things and new ways to do things. So it's like getting a new job every couple of years. I think the two coaches that probably stand out the most for me would be probably 3. The 2 coaches that I've won the World Cup with, which would be Jake White and 𝗀cie𝗹𝗹𝗶, and they were both amazing. They are both amazing coaches and visionaries, and I was always in wonder of them when I would listen to them, and they would talk about this is going to happen on the field, and I can see this happening, and then the next thing it happens, and I was like, wow. And then also Peter de Villiers. Peter de Villiers was a great coach in the time when there was a great team as well, and he achieved a lot during that time, and we won the Rugby Championships. We beat New Zealand for four times in a row, which was a memorable experience, and away from home as well. And then we won the British and Irish Lions tour in 2009. So I think those 3 coaches would be sort of top of the list. But not saying that other coaches weren't great, they were.
Beautiful. Let's talk a little bit about tournaments. I mean, 20 years, that's a very, very long time, and you have gone through so many different tournaments. Maybe let's talk about some of the tournaments that have stood out for you. I'm certain 2007, 2019 maybe could possibly be some of the markers.
Yeah, I think, I've been to 5 Rugby World Cup tournaments, and a Rugby World Cup tournament is the pinnacle of anyone's sort of rugby career, and as well as as a management member, it is as well. To go to those is very special. So I think, I wouldn't. All of them are special. I haven't unfortunately worked at a Rugby World Cup in South Africa, which I think would be amazing. I missed out in 2005, and then our first Rugby World Cup tournament was, sorry, I missed out in 95. My first Rugby World Cup tournament was 2003 in Australia. So, that was a special one. We didn't do well. We lost to the All Blacks in the quarterfinal, which was hard. But, 2007 we won in Paris, which was amazing. 2011 was great in New Zealand. We also went out in the quarterfinals, unfortunately. 2015 in England was great. We won the bronze medal there. We played Argentina in the bronze final. And then, 2019 was just amazing, winning in Japan.
Oh, that was absolutely beautiful. And I'm certain that's a moment that many rugby fans will never forget.
Yeah.
But I would love for us to talk about some of those iconic matches. When I think back to this British and Irish Lions series, I think of Morné Steyn, what he did on that weekend, what he did in 2009. Looking at some of the key matches that you have been able to be a part of the Springbok squad, which matches stand out for you?
I think for me, the matches that stand out were the players that played in their 100th test match. So when I started there, I thought, there were only probably about 6 or 7 centurions worldwide in rugby then, men centurions. And when we reached that with Percy Montgomery, that was just, I was like, wow, that was amazing. Percy was the first person. Then it was John Smith. That was an amazing game at the FNB Stadium. It was the first time we'd played there, 100,000 people, South Africans, diverse nation, rainbow nation, amazing. Unfortunately, we lost that game in the last minute, to the All Blacks. So that was heartbreaking. Then Victor Matfield played in Pretoria, and it was his home ground, which was great for him, and we won that match. Then Brian Abana was the next centurion. He played in Perth. John de Villiers played in New Zealand. And then the last centurion that we've had that I was part of was the Beast, and he played in Bloemfontein. He played against Australia, and we won that match. So I think those matches stand out for me because it's amazing to play 1 test for your country, but to play 100 tests is really a special achievement.
Definitely. Now, we've spoken about some of the coaches that have stood out for you across your 20-year journey. I would now like for us to focus on the 21 Springbok captains that you were able to work with. Who truly stands out for you? I'll give you a top 3 over there. And I would love for you to describe each one using just 1 word or possibly 1 sentence.
Yeah, I think of the 21 captains, they're 20 alive at the moment. 20 still around. Joost unfortunately has passed away. The 3 that would stand out probably the most for me would be the ones that were the captain for the longest time. During my sort of tenure, John Smith, John de Villiers, and 𝗙cie𝗹𝗹𝗶𝗹. So John. He's just an amazing person. He's strong. He's resilient. He's always there, and he's always the same. Jean de Villiers, he's just also a great guy, a funny guy. Always brings the funny part out of it. Even when he's stressed, he doesn't let that on. So I would say, also very. Very, very caring captain. 𝗙cie, 1 word for 𝗙cie, humble, stayed the same from the first time he played a match to being the World Cup winning captain in his 50th test match. Yeah, so I think those 3, but every single one is special, and my relationship with all the players is special, but with the captain, I would have to work a lot more, with the on the PR side, because they are sort of, more in the forefront at some stage.
Definitely. Let's talk a little bit about your preferred nickname. Now, the title of your book is the first lady of the Springboks. Alternatively, some have called you the mother of the Springboks. Which one would you prefer?
Well, I think the first lady was just because I was the first lady to travel with the team full time. But I think the mother of the Springboks, initially I sort of thought, oh no, that's not really nice. I didn't think of myself as being that old, but actually I am that old compared to the players. And I think, that's, a term of endearment really, because I did have the role. I did have a lot of nurturing sort of in the role, and being there for them when we were away and their family wasn't there. So I'm not fussed which one. I think the mother is quite nice, and I've learned to accept it and enjoy it.
Absolutely beautiful. You're locked onto the Sport MBT Insider, a podcast for unrelenting coverage of women in sport.